Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, it's just me. We are gonna do some experimentation. I had a last minute schedule change. All good. We're gonna just play around. So we're gonna try something that I've wanted to try for a while here, which is SvelteKit. I've heard a lot of really promising things about SvelteKit. It seems super promising. It has unbelievable developer love. If you look at the Stack Overflow survey, if you look at other developer surveys that are happening, people are very fond of SvelteKit. And so I haven't had the chance to really try it. The most I've done with Svelte is actually the work that I did on this show with Rich Harris. So and then we had another one with Scott from Level Up Tuts. Scott Talinsky. So why don't we, let's see, let me drop links to those episodes actually, because, oh wait, I have a search on my, I should, okay, hold on. I'm going to switch over so I can show this because this is new. This is a new thing that I built that I'm very happy about. So do you remember when Sarah Dayan came on the show and we built search, and then I was like, yeah, I'll get around to putting this on the site eventually. It's on the site. So first of all, here's the episode where she helped me put this together, taught us how that works. And then here, because this works now, here is the episode with Rich where we did an intro to Svelte. And then we also did this animation with Svelte with Scott Talinsky. So let me drop these. So that is all very exciting. And why don't I, while I'm on the site here, okay. Don't know what that was. Actually, I have it open over here where the caption's already live. So we are, as usual, being live captioned today. We've got Carrie with us today. Thank you so much, Carrie, for being here. And Carrie is from White Coat Captioning. You can check out those live captions right on the homepage at learnwithjason.dev. Captions are made possible through the support of our sponsors, Netlify, Fauna, Hasura, and Auth0, all kicking in to make this show more accessible to more people, which I very much appreciate. And so today we are going to play with SvelteKit. So this is SvelteKit. And before we start there, how y'all doing? What's going on today? How is everybody? What are y'all working on? How's your day going? Yeah, Kokusin, there's no PyTorch today. We had a schedule change, so I am going to try to get back with Lorena and see if we can reschedule. But yeah, it was pretty last minute there, so I'm pivoting to something that I was looking at yesterday to see if I had time to work on it. So let's hey, you get a schedule change, you make some lemonade, right? With that, Chris Ellis is actively working on a SvelteKit tutorial. That's amazing. What wonderful timing. Cool. So maybe you can help me when I get stuck, because I definitely didn't have time to find somebody who knows Svelte to like unstick me when we realize that I don't actually know this framework. So yeah, so let's just poke around here and see what is going on. So Svelte itself is an application framework that I only kind of know. So that's going to be probably the biggest hurdle today, is that I know enough about Svelte to recognize it, not enough to really do things. Hey, what's up? Yeah, thank you, Sayabla. It's good to have you. I'm excited about Svelte as well. I mean, it's been getting just really incredible support from the community. I've been kind of blown away by how quickly sentiment has grown for Svelte. I know it's been around for a while. It kind of felt like it was under the radar. It was not even under the radar. Like, I know Rich has been talking about it for a long time, but it felt to me like Svelte was something that was really powerful, but it wasn't picking up the steam that it honestly kind of seemed like it deserved. And it just seems like recently that steam is coming, where we're seeing a lot of people, we're seeing some people who were really prominent in other communities start to move over and adopt Svelte, and it's becoming very popular over there. So I kind of want to see what the hype's about. I mean, you don't get the like most loved framework. I think it was Let's see. Stack Overflow developer survey, I think it was the most loved. And now, granted, take all of these with a huge grain of salt, because there are only so many people who actually take this, so it's a little bit biased. But the thing that is that was interesting to see is that, oh, this is technology. Where's frameworks? Databases, platforms, web frameworks. So look at that. Svelte is the top loved framework, which is kind of amazing. And it's not like way ahead of some of the things that I would have expected to be at the top of this list, but it is still, that's pretty prominent, right? So that's pretty cool. And so let me drop this in here. Oh, whoops. Yeah, Eco, I didn't have a chance. To be completely fair, I definitely learned this. Like, we made the change very last second. So I am gonna have to go fix that tweet. Let me go get, actually, let me just do that right now while I'm thinking about it. So everybody bear with me while I'm on a different screen. And we're going to take this one down. And we'll instead tweet out, I'm just gonna copy paste my own tweet. Is that okay? I'm gonna do that. I don't care. Let's wait, where is it? Hello. I'm just gonna retweet my own thing. Here we are. Retweeted. Retwote. It has been twote. Okay. And then I will stop looking at Twitter. How about that? Yes, great. So, knowing that Svelte is growing in popularity, that people are kind of excited about it, they want to work with it. And I think this also came up in the want to work with, a lot of people were saying, I want to work with this. How do you read? Does anybody know how to read one of these? I actually have no idea how to do it. Oh, look, Svelte's not even in this. Okay, maybe not then. Anyways, it's growing in popularity. That's pretty exciting, and so we can, it's worth taking a little look here. So here's the thing that I think is cool about SvelteKit. So in general, what I like about Svelte is that they are stripping out a lot of the code that gets shipped as part of the final application. There's not a lot of JavaScript overhead. You don't get a lot of bulk as part of what the framework itself ships. So the JavaScript that you ship is mostly your own JavaScript. And it does a decent job of not adding extra stuff, right? So there are frameworks that are specifically targeted for that. Like Astro is like, hey, let's not ship literally anything that isn't actively required for interactivity, which, that's their stated goal. I think Svelte's goal was more, let's create really good interactivity. Like the if you look at this animation library that, wait, where did it go? Not this one. Did I lose it? Animation with Svelte? Here. If you look at the possibilities with this, there are some extremely cool animation stuff, and this is all just built in, right? It just works. So it's very powerful in what it allows you to do, and it doesn't require you to become an expert. So this is what I think is really interesting about Svelte, is it seems to be the framework for people who want to create very interactive visualizations. If you want things to animate, if you want things to move around, it just works in a really intuitive way in Svelte. And it ships a very performant bundle, which, those are things that I think are really, every framework has its strengths. And Svelte, that seems to be its strength, is it's so well suited for visualizations and interactive UIs and transitions and animations and stuff like that. So I want to just dig into it. And then what SvelteKit is doing is it's giving us the ability to do a kind of single page app, kind of app-like experience that just feels really nice to use. So that's what I've all understood. Now let's find out how it actually works. So I'm going to start by just getting right into the docs, and let's look at, well, I guess let's make sure that I understand what it actually is. So SvelteKit is a framework for building extremely high performance web apps. Building an app with all the modern best practices is fiendishly complicated. That is true. I love fiendishly. Those practices include build optimization so that you load only the minimal required code, offline support, prefetching pages before the user initiates navigation. This one's huge. If you aren't familiar with what that means, that is when you can tell that somebody's going to click because they hover a link or something like that, and you start loading the data ahead of time, which saves you half a second or sometimes a full second. And that little bit of prefetching will make your app feel like it loads instantly instead of like you click and then wait. So it's a subtle thing, it's a small thing, but it makes a huge difference. And configurable rendering, I don't know what that means, but we're gonna find out, that allows you to generate HTML on the server or in the browser at runtime or at build time. SvelteKit does all the boring stuff for you so that you can get on with the creative part. And SvelteKit does all this while providing a lightning fast developing experience where changes to your code show up in your browser automatically. Oh, it's using Vite under the hood. That's cool. So the updates are instant and precise without reloading the page or blowing away application state. So Vite is another one that we've done an episode about. It's extremely cool. I'm so happy this exists. Oh my goodness. Let's see. This was the one where we actually used Vite. So this one, Sunil and I talked about Vite for a while, and then there's this one here as well where we did subscriptions. And now the majority of what we did in here was building this actual subscription thing, but we used Vite for it, and it is so dang fast. So if you want to see Vite in action, that's a good way to do that. Let's keep poking around here. So you don't need to know Svelte to understand the rest of this guide, but it will help. Yeah, so that's what I think is going to be our biggest risk here. But we can get started right away. So let's pull up the command line, which is over here, and I'm going to move into the Learn with Jason directory and then pull it over. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is npm init Svelte train, yep. Svelte at next. Interesting. So SvelteKit isn't like a separate thing. It's just the next version of Svelte. So let's say fun with SvelteKit. All right. This is beta software. That is fine. Let's go with the demo app so we've got something to peek at. TypeScript is probably one step too far for me. Let's do code linting. Let's do prettier. And now I can go into here. Let's npm install. And then we can git init. All right. And if we look in here, we can see it set us up with a pretty decent setup. Let's say they wanted us to commit everything. So let's commit everything and say initial commit. All right. Git add all. Screwed up my git commands there. Okay, so now what I can do is create a new repo, and so we'll create it at Learn with Jason Fun with SvelteKit, and this is using the GitHub CLI, which is amazing. This will create Learn with, yep, that's the one I want. Good. Okay, so that exists, and if you're interested, this is, or wait, is it github.com/CLI? Oh, it is cli.github.com. Yeah, so check this out if you're not familiar with it. It's a very, very powerful tool that gives us a lot of really powerful options. And then I am also going to, let's just run this thing with Netlify I'm gonna use Netlify dev. Oh, wow. Okay, so we automatically recognize SvelteKit. That's good news. And then it opened up in this window, but we can open it here. All right, so here is a default SvelteKit app. Good, I like it. It's got a little counter. All right. It's got an about page. And it's got to-dos. Okay, so let's add a to-do. Don't help, 1Password. And let's say, do a thing. And it says, do a thing. And then we say, please go away. No? Oh boy, okay. Do another thing. And now we've got two things. Looks like I can edit them in place. I can mark them as done. And like, you see this little stuff here where it like fades and sinks down a little bit, or I bet it does something cool when I delete too. Look at that. Okay, so did you see how it like very quickly kind of, it like fades away and shrinks and all that stuff? I bet when we look at this code, there's no custom library in here. So let's open this up and take a look. Okay, so here is our source code. We've got app.html, which sets up our div with the Svelte app in it. Okay, we've got hooks.js. What does this do? Handle. This looks like it's some specialty stuff because it's setting a cookie with a user ID. Visited the app, set a cookie so we recognize them when they return. I bet this is something for the demo that's not actually relevant to like the actual inner workings of Svelte. So let's poke around in here. We've got a layout. Let's look at the layout. So we get a header, we get an app.css, and it sets up a script. We've got our main header here. Main, we've got a slot. And slots are where the content gets dropped in if you've got, I think that's like React Children, if I remember correctly. Thank you, oh hey Julian. That is, this is operator mono. Footer, and then we've got style down below. So this has got the sort of single file component feel of Vue that I dig. And let's look, here's the index page. So we've got pre-render true. So I guess this is how we tell it that we don't need a page to be dynamically rendered. Is it like that? Probably, I don't know. And then we've got a counter, so we'll look at that in a second. And then we've got, yeah, Hysteria 9. As far as I know, the slot is the children in React because it looks like what we're doing is we're setting a layout, and then it looks like all of this stuff just gets dropped into that slot. So all of this will show up in the slot, to the best of my understanding. Let's run it and take a look actually at what happens. So we'll run it. And if we look in, let's go to the home page and look in the elements here, we can see that here's our section with the H1, and that's a section with an H1, right? And outside of it is our main next to a header, which is in the layout. So here's the header, here's the main, and there's the slot. So that's how it works. If you, looks like it auto wraps, this is probably a specially named file because it's got the double underscore lead. So yeah, very much like Vue slots as far as I understand it. Chrysalis Dev is confirming. And it looks like I want to be Suhodolsk. Sorry if I'm getting that way wrong. Slots can have names, also nice. So that would be like if we wanted to pass it as an actual prop, that would work. Okay, so now that we've got this in here, let's maybe go and look at what that pre-render thing meant. So let's go back to the docs. And each page of your app is a Svelte component. Great. You create pages by adding to source routes. This is very familiar to me. This is how you do it in Next, Nuxt, Gatsby, whatever. They have source pages. This is source routes. Cool. These will be server renders so that a user's first visit to your app is as fast as possible, and then a client-side app takes over. Okay, that's what happens in all of the front-end frameworks that I know. Let's edit the files, get a sense of how things work. We've got some routing down here. Endpoints run only on the server or when you build your site if pre-rendering. Okay. I suspect it's likely that at least some of the pages can be represented as simple HTML and these can be pre-rendered. Good. So if your entire app is suitable for pre-rendering, you could use adapter static, which will generate HTML files for every page, plus additional files that are requested by load functions in those pages. In many cases, you'll only want to pre-render specific pages, so that's when you export this pre-render true. That's start at the root of your app and generate HTML for any pre-renderable pages that it finds. Each page is scanned for A elements that point to other pages that are candidates for pre-rendering. So you generally don't need to specify which pages should be accessed. If you do need to specify which pages should be accessed by the pre-render, you can do so with the pages option in the pre-render configuration. Don't exactly know what that means, so we might just have to see what happens when we try it. Okay, so let's poke around. Oh yeah, trust codes. That's a good question, and we got a link from Chris Ellis, so let's poke at that. That's not the link I wanted. I wanted this link. Copy link. There it is. Named slots. So if we slot name, slot name address, slot name email. Oh, and then we can just do like a span and say what the slot is. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So knowing that contact card has that, if we do a span slot equals name, also how badass is this? That should work, right? Do I have to run it? No? Anyone? Oh, do I have to hit show me? Weren't you supposed to run for me? Rude. Span slot email. Maybe you have to like put it in between or something. Oh, that's interesting. That's a limitation that's weird. So if it's on the same line, it doesn't work. Is that right? Or did it just need to like have something in there and then a... Oh, okay. So it's just the REPL is a little bit strange, but that's powerful stuff. Like that's very cool that works like that. Okay. And yeah, honestly, it might be my computer. I'm running a lot of stuff on it, so it could be hung up on me right now. But that is really powerful stuff. I like, actually, let me keep that open so I can put it in the show links. Let's go back to our app here. And let's shut that down. And I just want to start messing with this a little bit. So let's go and look at this to-dos. And I want to see how this works because it looks like there's a little bit more than usual going in here. So with this one, we are enhance. So we load the response from todos.json, which it appears is here, which is kind of interesting. So you do a .json.js, and then you can run a function. Interesting. Okay. So we're able to kind of define whatever we want here. And that is very cool. like it. I like this a lot. So yeah. What's up, Allie? Thank you for stopping by. Good to see you. Okay, so we've got our to-dos here. We've got the ability to get, which it looks like just pulls all of the posts, and here's that user ID. Okay, so this hook is just for the demo. It's just to get us set up with a user ID so that we can send these. And then it looks like, let's see, there's an API. This is, oh, so they like set up a whole API here where we can go and hit the Svelte API and then pass in to-dos and like what our to-do is. So to-dos user ID, and then we get our to-dos. I got it. I understand. So what this is letting us do is basically they implemented a little API to support the dynamic to-do management. That is very cool. It's okay. You know what? You don't have to follow. It's all right. You know, I appreciate it, but it definitely doesn't affect our friendship. So why don't we mess around with, let's mess around with some data here. I'm going to start easy, and I'm going to try to create a page. Well, before I do that, I do want to see how the animation was done. So let's go back and let's focus up here. So we've got loading. Okay, so we know how to get the data. All right, so check this out. Import scale, import flip. Let's see how much actual animation code happens here. For each to do. Unbelievable. You just do some scale stuff. Don't quite know what that part means, but we can figure that out. But then like animate flip just works. So freaking cool. Yeah, I mean, like there are clearly some things in here that I need to learn, but like, are there any animations down here? There's a transition. So there's a little bit of CSS animation mixed in here just to move it up and down a little bit. Cool. And let's see, transform none. Transition opacity, so that's where the opacity shift came from. Okay, that makes sense. And dang, so there's almost no, it is very cool to me that there is almost no manual animation to get this very cool to-do thing set up. Right? So when you create one, it fades in, right? It kind of flies in, fades in. If you check the box, goes there. So we've got the opacity shift, and we've got the that little bit of a like down 1 pixel to look like it's lowering, right? And then when we delete, that's the scale. It's just really cool how fast that works. I'm very, very excited. Tony, I mean, you can click on links in the stream if you want. That I think you're just going to pause the stream, right? So this, I really, really like the way that works. I think that's super cool. So let's mess around a little bit with building our own page. So I'm going to start with getting rid of some stuff. So let's do something like this. We're going to say, hello, chat. And then let's just get over here, head to the home page. There we go. Okay, we've simplified. We're at hello, chat. So if I delete this, how fast does that change? Just instantaneous. Let's look at the counter. So here's the counter. And this one has another auto imported thing. So it imports a spring, gives us a count. This $ thing I remember as being like a context thing that I'm going to have to look up again. But we're able to offset modulo displayed count. So does that mean that the left button will be disabled if unclick, hidden true, decrease the counter by 1? Where does that thing come in? So we've got the offset. Where's the offset? Oh, interesting. So that's how we're setting. Okay, look at this. Boom, boom. You see how it goes up and down? That's because it's checking what the difference is in direction. And then it translates either up or down based on that. That is extremely cool. Watch for changes in this variable. Okay, so this is basically making it reactive. So more or less, it's saying that this will be a variable that when changed should re-render the component. Okay, got you. I'm into it. That's very, very cool. So let's mess around in here a little bit. I'm going to get rid of this counter and we're going to simplify that. Here we go. We've got our hello chat. We've got, none of these are being used anymore, so we can drop this. All right, let's save that. Okay. Not using the counter anymore. Now check this out. So we do a context module. This looks like how we export things that are settings for the, and then this script is like internal stuff that the component will use. So it looks, I bet there's more to that, but it looks like we've got kind of two different contexts that we run in that will allow us to kind of configure Svelte and probably communicate to other, maybe communicate to other components. And then this is stuff that's for the component itself. Okay, so that's cool. So we can get rid of this for now. That's all kind of coming together here. All right, now let's customize the layout a bit. All right, so we've got this header, we've got the app CSS. So we can say like built with SvelteKit on learn with jason.dev. Did I forget to close an element? I double closed an element. Double close 2 elements? What chaos is this? Okay. And then I should probably change this one to actually say SvelteKit. Okay, so we got that one going. Let's get into the header. Mess around a little bit. So we've got this logo. We've got some stores. And this comes from app stores. Do we have an app stores, or is that like a global thing? App. So that looks like a global. So we'll have to look up what that means. And then we've got a link. Then we've got this this nav box being, I think, is just the shape behind it. Oh, it's like these side shapes. Okay, so we can drop those. Drop this one. Corner. Oh, this like goes up in the top right. What are you? With that extra autocomplete is kind of wild. Oh, so it'll just throw something up there if we wanted to. Okay, so that's cool. And then we've got this corner. We've got everything being display flexed. Got the nav. Okay, SVG, we don't need that one anymore. Got this path. Love CSS variables. We've got the UL, the LI. good, okay. So we've simplified that a bit. Let's look at this app.css. And I'm just gonna mess around with, let's see, so that like, let's change it to the default font. Look at that go. That's cool. All right, we're getting there. It's got a monospace, good. All these different colors. And then what if we drop out? Oh, that's cool. Okay, so we can get rid of the gradient, and then we can mess with like, we could set this to be background, and then it's white. Okay, we're getting places. Things are happening. It's all happening. Then we've got a radial gradient. I don't really want a radial gradient, do I? Probably not. Let's turn it off. In fact, I don't think we need any of this anymore because we're not really doing anything with the pseudo elements anymore. It sets the app to be a minimum. It's all happening. Then we can do, let's see, that's 100% high. Got font weights. Yeah, basic. Okay, this is all making sense. I can follow all of this. We're happy. We're happy. Good. What's up, Ben? How you doing? Nikki, anything for you? Oh, and then Fakui says script module is one time per component instance. Script without context module is once per instance of the component. I think I get what you mean. Like one script module is once per load, and the without context module is like once per render or something like that. So that's all good, all good. All right, so we have like a somewhat simplified little thing. Let's set our background. Let's set this background to be like just a little bit. Oh, this is so cool that that works. Let's make it just like a little bit this color. Yeah, that's not going to pass contrast, is it? Not really. Let's make it a little bit lighter. That works. I'm okay with that. Oh, that's a purple and orange match made in heaven. Maybe we do more of a like a red. No, I'm gonna do a gray. How about a gray? Oh, that contrast feels bad still. Okay, see, I have an episode coming up where Todd Libby is going to teach us about contrast, and that feels like something we need. That feels okay. I think that'll pass. Should we test it? Okay, so I'm going to go here, and then I've got our color here, and we can do contrast against. Can I get this color? Whoa, that's not what I wanted at all. Background. How do I get the background? Contrast ratio, because the background is this. That's plenty, right? That's good enough. Trip goes over AAA. So we've got great contrast. And now, also, does everybody know about that tool? That thing is so good. Yeah, the Todd is coming on. Let's take a look. It went too narrow, broke my nav. Let's get, is Todd on the site yet? He's not yet on the site. Let me check the date on this. He is coming on upcoming. Got to check my secret notes. Todd will be on October 28th. We're going to do understanding color contrast for accessibility. I have a bunch of episodes that are not up on yet. I think I have like 10 episodes that aren't listed yet, or something like that. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on this schedule. You can always add on Google Calendar if you want to get notified automatically. It'll just kind of show up it will show up in your Google Calendar. You won't have to get notified or anything. Like, it doesn't actually send a push notification. It just like puts it on your calendar that it's happening. Ooh, I didn't even think about that. It's going to be a spooky episode. Should I try to talk Todd into doing the episode as a lobster roll? Yes. Yes, we should do that. I will. Great. And since I don't have an episode to link to, let's do a quick shout out to Todd. There he is. There's Todd. And the reason you can see Todd is definitely building a little bit of a legend around himself in lobster rolls. I bet if I look into his media, we're gonna see many pictures of it. Let's see, how far do we have to go to find a lobster roll? Wait, lobster. Here's one. Is that a lobster roll? No, that's a cheeseburger. There it is. We knew. We knew that he would find a lobster roll. So anyways, this will be happening. That's going to be a good time. So let's keep on plugging away here. Let's see if we can do something fun. Less lobsters in Arizona. That is true. That is absolutely a fact. All right, Chris Ellis, have a good night. Okay, so now that we have set up a light customization of what was there, we can start messing around. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to attempt to re-implement that counter without looking at the original counter code, because that seems like something that is both feasible and uses some cool stuff. So I'm going to, actually, why don't we just deploy this thing first? Let's get it up and live. So I'm going to check what we've done. Let's git add everything. We'll do a git commit, call it a work in progress, and say minor customizations to the base template. And we'll push that up. Set the upstream to with that -u shortcut so that I don't have to, I can just do git push now and it knows to go to main. And then I'm going to netlify init. So I'm using the Netlify CLI now, which I have, I think, netlify.fy.cli/CLI. Is that right? Let's find out. Yeah, okay. So I have a shortcuts, love shortcuts. If you want to go get started with the CLI, the Netlify CLI is going to let us do a bunch, including create and configure a new site. So I have my GitHub repo that I created. It's this one here. If you want to go check it out, I can drop that in the link as well. And that is going to be deployed to my own site, and we'll call this fun with SvelteKit. All right. And it should, because it detected SvelteKit, I think it's going to just auto detect stuff. But what I'm going to do just to make sure is I'm going to use the npm commands. So let's use npm run build. And then that probably is right. Netlify functions, good. Okay, and now I think this is not going to work because I saw something about adapters. So what do I need to know about adapters? Let's look this up. Publishing. No, not publishing. That's not what we're doing. We're doing adapters. So adapters. We want to use one of the adapters. So here's a Netlify one. That's what we want. How do we add that? So I need to install the adapter. I can do that part. And then we need to import it and drop it into our config. Okay, so there's no options, no nothing. I can manage that. So let's install it. And then we'll come down to this Svelte config. And it looks like not a lot happening here, which is good. Or wait, was it default or named? Default. So import adapter from SvelteKit adapter Netlify. And then here we can go adapter, and then we call that like a function. Okay. So then we should be able to git add everything, git commit add the Netlify adapter, we'll git push, and then let's go take a look at this. So I'm going to Netlify open. And so that'll open up the thing. Yeah, and it failed because we didn't have an adapter. This one should work because we do have an adapter. I need an NVMRC. Looks like it does work, probably. And there we go. There's our site. Ta-da! So the adapter, I think, is, let me just actually read the docs here. An adapter, before you can deploy your SvelteKit app, you need to adapt it for your deployment target. Okay, so anywhere you go, you need an adapter. Adapters are small plugins that take the built app as input and generate output for deployment. Many adapters are optimized for a specific hosting provider, and you can generally find information about deployment in your adapter's documentation. However, some adapters, like Adapter Static, build output that can be hosted on numerous hosting providers, so it may also be helpful to reference the documentation of your hosting provider in these cases. So if you were building a site that didn't have any of the server-side rendering stuff, like the to-dos where you are actively reading and writing using like the backend features of SvelteKit, it looks like you would use this to get smaller bundles and deploy those to Netlify. But because we don't need to do that, so this is Node. Oh, I kind of like the idea of naming it like that instead of calling it adapter. Yeah, I'm going to do that because that makes more sense to me. Because like this, right? Because now it's very clear, whoops. It's very clear that we're using the Netlify adapter instead of like adapter, and you got to look up here to see that it's Netlify. I like that. So let's use that. And we'll just say, let's call this a chore. Rename for clarity. And I can push that. And that'll rebuild the site. Nothing will actually change. I probably could have like skipped CI or something. I'm using Node 16 by default. Oh, you know what it might be? Let's check. I used what version of Node? Using Node 16.9.0. Is this because I'm on the new build image? Yes. So this is the new build image, which is default as of a week or two ago. And it has, I think, where's the, wait, no, I don't care about that. I want to know about build image selection. Okay. Do we have details about what changed in this? Okay, I think this might have bumped the default Node version. PHP, Ron, K. Huh. Maybe it didn't? Huh, okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know how it's getting Node 16. Is there already an NVMRC in here? Let's see, does it have an engines? Doesn't have an engines. Interesting. Maybe it's because it's set as type module, and that would be really cool if our build system was smart enough to recognize that. Yeah, I don't see anything that would. Yeah, Ubuntu should have 14, right? Like 14 is the LTS. Okay, something is happening that is smart, and it's apparently smarter than me, because I don't know how because we didn't set any environment variables, right? So we didn't change it there. Did it? I wonder, let's check this first one and see if it like noticed something about Node. Now using Node 16.9.0. How? How did you learn this? Downloading and installing. Really interesting that it just like knows that. Okay, I'm gonna have to dig into that one with the team and figure out why that happened, because I'm happy that it did, but I'm confused because it doesn't say that that's the version that we need. What are you doing, computer? Why? Why are you like this? I am on the like every feature flag that Netlify has. So if there is some kind of test running, I'm probably in it. So there is a chance that I have some things going on that aren't present in every account. But if you deploy SvelteKit and you see something weird happen, actually, why don't we just do this as if we didn't have it already happen? What I'm going to do is if I run node version, it shows that I'm on 16.6.1. So actually, why don't we do npm install 16 and get the latest, which is 16.9.0. Okay. So if you don't use npm is a very cool tool that will let you swap your node version very quickly. Yeah, Nikki, that's basically it. But using NVM, I can install, now I'm on 16.9.0 where I was on 16.6.1 before. And so now if I run node v, it says 16.9.0. Okay, so now I'm gonna run it again, but this time I'm gonna pipe that into a file called nvmrc. And what that means is it will have created a file called nvmrc, and inside it just has the version. So if I save that, and I can add it, git commit, nvmrc, and we can push that. So Netlify will respect that and use whatever version of Node you want it to use. I think to a point. I don't know if you can go further back than 12. You might be able to go back to 10. Unclear. But you can definitely use 12, 14, 16, and like any version thereof, because it'll pull based on NVM. So that's a nice way if you're trying to get, something set up quickly and you don't want to have to go and mess with environment variables or anything like that. You can just set this nvmrc. It's just going to work, and that's a very nice experience. So let's keep messing with some SvelteKit stuff. So now that this is deployed, right? I'm very happy about that. It's deployed. Everything is working the way that we want. Our recent deploys are working. Did it change anything about the nvmrc? See, yeah, here it goes. So it's attempting to use the node version from nvmrc now, but because I used the same one that was used before, it's already installed, so we don't have to reinstall it or anything. Had I changed it, like had I not updated my version locally, it would have reset to 16.6.1 and we would have installed it at this step here. Okay, so that's a lot of not node or not Svelte. Let's play with some more Svelte. So what I want to do next is let's try to build a counter. So thinking about what I want this counter to do, I want this counter to, let's do a like boop button, and we'll only be able to increment it. And that seems like something that'll take me a solid half hour. Let's call this one boop.svelte. And inside of it, I am going to add a script. What is up with this double completion? We'll just live with that, I guess. Can you... And then we have whatever we want to be here. So I think what I want is like a section, and that's going to be fun for the rest of the day. I'm really excited about it. Here's a section, and inside that section, we want to have a display of our count. So we can call that like a paragraph, and inside of it, we will put in the count. So let's design this first, and then we'll figure out how to make it work. And we'll say boop. Okay, so that style, and then inside of here, I should be able to do something like a P. We'll have a font size of, say, 2rem, and the button will have a background of, what was it, like primary color or something? Let's see what that one does. And then we will include that here by saying import boop from, was it lib boop. And then I can just use it, I think. Boop. Okay, so if I restart the local server, oh, got to reinstall the Netlify CLI because I just changed my node version. And this has to pull in all the stuff for all the different frameworks, so it takes a little bit. Okay. Run Netlify dev. And we've got ourselves a boop button, and it looks like it's respecting our style choices. Okay, so let's make this apply boops liberally. That is correct. Do I have, I mean, auto close. Language defined. Maybe I can just try it here and see what happens. Let's not change it. Go language defined here, but on the workspace, we'll say never. That seems okay. Let's try that. Now will you respect me, computer? No. Shouldn't have gotten my hopes up. Volta.sh. I don't know what that is, Jacob. I don't know what that is at all. Hassle-free JavaScript tool manager. Built-in Rust. This looks like a whole episode. I have no idea what this is, but everybody go check that out because it looks fun. Let's style this up just a little bit more here. So I'm gonna do section, and let's have our section do we'll do display flex, we'll do flex direction column, and we'll do align items center. That should center everything good. And then on this, we want like a border none, set of padding of like 0.5, maybe a little more on the left and right. Yeah, like that. Let's do a font size of 1.5, maybe a little bit smaller. Good. Okay, and then I want to use a different color. So let's go look at the app.css for what our other color options are. Accent color sounds good. Let's try that one. Hey, I like that. And then let's do like a font weight bold. Oh, that it's kind of hard to read, isn't it? Maybe it needs to be like a color of white or color of, I guess, background. Why didn't that work? Wait, did I miss something? Background. Or I guess we just go pure white. Oh, background was set in like inside of a component, not on its own. I don't like this, but I'm gonna live with it because I would rather try to figure out how to make this thing work. So this gives us a button. Button doesn't do anything. We've got our thing here that works. Let's go with like a 0.5 rem. That seems okay. All right. So next what I want is I want this to be counter equals 0. Now if I want the counter to be here, do I get to just like drop it in like this? I do. Haha. Okay, perfect. So then if I want that to be observed, it was this, right? And that still works. Okay. So then I want to define function increment. And do I get to just do something like counter plus plus, and then down here I get to do an on click increment? This seems too easy. It's probably not going to work. It doesn't. Okay, so let's go look in the docs and figure out what I did wrong. So I'm going to go to the, let's make this bigger. We're going to go to Svelte JS svelte.dev, and then let's look at the docs and look at reactive assignments, reactive statements. So a prop you can export. We don't need that. But I do want on event name and handler. Okay, so I got halfway there. I needed to do it a little bit different. So I did it like view, or no, I did it like nothing, and don't know why I'm surprised that it didn't work. So that theoretically should work. Bam! Look at it. Oh, goodness, everyone. Oh my goodness, it's so good. All right, so here's what I want to do next. I want to figure out, oh, I love this. Okay. So wait, now do I need to make this reactive? I bet I don't. What if I just like let counter? Still works. Okay. So yeah, you are absolutely right that I did not need to make that reactive. So if I was going to do something like, let's say, we'd go like derived count, and that would equal 10 minus counter, and we can say, call it details, and say we are something like this, right? So then if I boop, okay, but see, it's not doing the thing. So instead I would need to do this. And now it's okay. All right. Light bulb just went off. So if we need a value that is dependent on another value that will change, then we need this. Otherwise, if we're just one value and we're modifying that value, we don't need this part. So this is only if the value should change dependent on some other value. I understand. So cool. All right, I get that. That makes sense. And now, boom, 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 boom. And then we could make this intelligent. And to do that, we get to do some other fun stuff, which I think is just like this. Yes. And then the condition would be if derived count is less than 1. Is that right? I feel like this is probably wrong. And then we would say, actually, I can do it like this. Boom. And then I could do like an else. And then I could do if. I'm wrong. Expected if. Gotta look it up. Got close, I think. Let's go look at the directives. If. So they're here. If expression. Okay, so I was close. But if I need an else if, or I just need an else. Oh, okay, so I need to do it like this. And then I think it works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, all right. And then it just doesn't change after that because we're at maximum booper drive. Okay, so now we've got some kind of reactive bits in our components. We've got some logic here. I'm going to set up the details to be a little bit less huge so we can just style those, I believe. I believe this will just override. Yes. Okay. Boop, 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 boop. All right. I'm on board. What up, y'all? This is cool. All right. So I'm really happy right now because this is doing all the things that I would want it to do. It's intuitive enough that based on my knowledge of other frameworks and the little bit of Svelte experience that I have, this didn't feel insurmountable. The docs were easy to parse when we needed to go look something up, so we could just kind of find it really quickly. That makes me really happy. So I'm feeling confident that we could make something work. So let's play with transitions and see if we can make this look nicer. So a transition would be when it enters or leaves the DOM state as a result of a change. So I don't think we would want that one. I think we would want more of an, how would this work? Oh, wait, this might be one of those things. So what they did was they put this into a CSS animation. And so to do that, or actually, you know what? Why don't we do this? Let's do this transition. And we're going to transition fade. So I would need to get, like, import the fade. But we could do transition parameters. Don't really need those. Can we just call fade without any, we don't need to import anything. So let's do this. Let's do a span and a transition fade. What is that? Why would you do that? Okay. Then we're going to go here. Doesn't like that. Fade is not defined. Okay, so I need to import fade from Svelte Transition. Is that just gonna work? That would be neat. Let's try it. Boop, 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 boop. So if this is right, when I click this button, we should see it fade in. Look at, oh my goodness, that is amazing. Oh, it's so good. Okay, so then what I want to do is let's try something else. So I'm going to say out. Is that right? It was like you could go to out function, in function. So I just want Yeah, in, fly, out, fade. Good. I want it to out scale, and then I need a list of the transitions so that I can actually look at how this works. Transition, let's go to scale. And what I want to happen is I want this to, these are very cool. Okay, so what does it do by default? Default 0. Default start, scale value is 0. Opacity, good. Yup. I wonder if it'll like play in backwards if we do it that way. Let's try it and see what happens. So I'm gonna do import scale, and then we're gonna try an out of scale. And what I think should happen is this one should like, and then the other one will fade in. Moment of truth. I just straight up broke it. That's okay. So both of them came in at the same time is why that went weird. So we would need to like link the transition somehow if we were going to do that, which I could potentially, let's see if there's a, is there a doc on like chaining? Tween, spring, I don't really want any of that. What does draw do? Oh, that's for SVGs. We don't have one of those. I want to, also it looked like scale didn't do anything. Did y'all see that? So it was like in scale, out scale. And let's see. So does scale just not do anything unless you pass parameters to it? Let's look. Delay, default. Oh, so you can set a delay. Okay, so the duration is 400. So in this one, then what I should be able to do is say on the transition fade, we would go delay 400. And then that should cause these to do their thing. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so it kind of did it, but I would need them to be like position absolute or something. But that starts to feel a little bit messy, doesn't it? There's probably an easier way to do this that I just don't know. So let's keep poking. Let's see what we can find. I want to see, is there any, let's look in the actual docs, right? Like, or let's look in the tutorial. Let's look at transitions, right? So if we've got a transition, then it'll fade in and out. Okay, that part's fine. We got that. And with this one, we can use fly. All right. And then if we want them to be different, let's in fly out fade. Okay, that part makes sense. I want to see it do handful. Okay, so now it wants to do more stuff. Let's see what happens. Wow. Okay, that was a lot. You should generally use CSS for transitions as much as possible. There are things that can't be achieved without JavaScript, such as a typewriter effect. So that's fine. I wonder, that is the 90s infomercial animation. What does that mean? Oh, interesting. Okay, so there are like steps here. So transition, and then we've got these kind of bits here. So we would almost need to like set a state to track between the two. Do we want to mess with that? Let's look and see, play on elements. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Are any of these going to do what I want? So that's really handy. You see that? That's just built in. That's kind of incredible. Okay, so it doesn't look like, wait, no, deferred transition looked like we needed, right? Coordinated between multiple elements. So crossfade function, send and receive. So what we're actually doing, oh, there's a lot here. So there's the left one, on change, mark it true, and I don't see transitions. And then with these ones, I don't see transitions. So that means when you do mark it to do, you remove a to do, and then you add it to the other one, okay? So when you add, still don't see transitions. How is this being done? We're automatically sending in the crossfade send and receive. So where does send get called? We send. Huh, I don't see that actually being used, do you? Like, where does that actually get used? Send. Do I need to run the send? These don't actually get used, right? Like, am I losing it over here? Oh, here, send and receive. Oh, okay, I'm not, I got it. I'm figuring it out. So we've got each of these to-dos. On the in, it does a receive and it sends the to-do ID. On the out, it does a send and it sends the to-do ID. And so this one might be a little advanced for the 5 minutes we have remaining. So let's try to hack it. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do instead. I am going to set another one here that is let state, and we will say it is currently not booped enough. All right, and we'll say if so we're going to need like 2 blocks here. So the first one is going to be if state equals that'll be our maximum booper drive state. Then we'll show this one. And then this one will say if derived count is greater than 0, we'll show this. And when we get to derived count, So this one's gonna have to be reactive as well. No, we need like an on complete. So let's go back to those transition events, and we'll say on intro end. It'd be outro end, right? On outro end. On outro end, we will say status equals more boops, and I need to put this in the right place. Right? That should be right. I'm gonna take this out. We are instead going to put it here. And yikes, broke the whole thing. State. Oh, state. State. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5. So this should fade the first one out. There we go. Okay, so this definitely does what we want, right? Like we can, so this is, and honestly, like this is only sort of hacky because this feels like what I would do in a regular app. Let me break this up a little bit so we can see what's actually happening. I don't know why it doesn't auto format for me. I think I'm having issues. I'm starting to suspect that the Svelte plugin is arguing with one of my other plugins because my auto formatting is not really working. So I suspect I'm doing something wrong. So something that I've done here as well isn't actually doing what I want. So let's see if we can get our transition to actually work. Transition scale, and I want starting point should be 0. 2 minutes. Can we do it? I think we can. Let's go back to the docs. Let's find scale. Right, here's transition, and we're going to look at custom transition functions. I don't need those. I need scale. Is there a list of these somewhere that I was looking at? Creating component, transition. Just keep looking for scale. It'll be here somewhere. Svelte transition scale. There we go. So down here we've got scale. Scale params. One of the params that we want is the start default of 0. The scale value to animate out to and in from. Right. Does that mean that I need these? Animates the opacity and scale. Oh, that's because I think that means our span needs a display block. And I think that'll fix it. Let's try it. What did I screw up? On outro end. Oh, I did all sorts of things wrong. I just like got halfway through. Nope, keep that. And we're using scale on both, so let's set transition to scale on both. Let's try that again. Boom, 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 boom. Now you should fade. You do fade. Okay, so it needed to be display block so that the scale could actually transition. So this is really, really nice. Like this feels really good to use. I love the fact that we were able to get this just up and running, and we get these, like we didn't really get a chance to look at the more in-depth stuff here of like the client side or the server side stuff, but it is very cool. I think I broke a piece. Resource responded with a 404 not found. Okay, that's fine. I must have broken something. I'm not sure what I broke, but we'll figure that out. But it does work deployed, hopefully. It does. Okay, so something that I did got a little bit goofy. I must have been poking some buttons, but no matter what, we are in pretty solid shape here where we've got a deployed app. And here's the other thing. If I refresh the page, this is persistent. Like this is pulling from a database. It's not just a demo that'll refresh when you navigate away. So we were able to, in pretty short order here, let's git add, I'm gonna remove that VS Code stuff. Git add all, git commit, and we'll say add a boop counter. And push that up. That should deploy nice and quick for us. And once that is done, should be live over here. Yeah, there we go. I think this should only take another few seconds here. Vite is so dang fast. Okay, so that's our site deployed. So if I head back over to the home page, boom, 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 boom. There are our transitions. So, I mean, this is slick. Like, I feel very impressed by how nice Svelte is to work with, how intuitive those animations feel, how the docs were really complete. So Bill, we did not do the to-dos part. So the to-dos part actually came out of the SvelteKit demo from npm init svelte at next. We set that up and this was kind of built in. So I only marginally understand how that part works, but it is very cool. And I think what I might do now is I might try to hunt down, maybe I can get Rich to come back or get somebody else from the Svelte community to come and teach us about that, because it sounds like there is a lot to do here, a lot of cool opportunities. So I would be very excited to learn more. So, you know, stay tuned. But for now, I think we're going to call this one done. If you want to go and see the site, you can see what we deployed here at funwithsveltekit.netlify.app. And if you want to see the repo, it ended up over here somewhere. No, one of them. Let's see. Let's just open it again, right? Here it is. You can go and find this repo. There it goes. Okay, so with that, let's head on back to the Learn with Jason homepage and do another shout out to Carrie, who's been here all day doing live captions. Thank you so much, Carrie, for being here. And that live captioning is coming through white coat captioning. That's made possible through the support of our sponsors, Netlify, Fauna, Hasura, and Auth0, all of whom are making the show more accessible to more people. While you're checking out things on the site, make sure you go and look at the schedule. We've got, as we said, a ton of really fun stuff coming up. It is just jam-packed. There's all of this and more. We've got everything from, like, we're going to do team workflows in Notion. We're going to do personalization, which is really cool. So we'll be able to take content on a page and customize it based on who's viewing it, which is a really, really powerful thing that seems like it's maybe impossible on the Jamstack. Turns out we can do it. We're doing New Relic stuff. We're doing distributed databases. This one, I don't even know. I'm so excited. So many cool things happening all over the place. And there's more episodes that I haven't even added yet. So what a great time to be alive, chat. Oh my goodness. All right. With that, thank you all so much. Let's go find someone to raid. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. And we will see you next time.